What is going on, guys? It's Jake. We're back in for another YouTube video. This is a long awaited one. A lot of you guys have been waiting for me to get the engine in the car, and that is what we're going to be doing today. So be sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button before we get started. We're going to go ahead and get this thing off of the engine stand here. I've already got the cherry picker hooked up to it. So for any of you guys wondering, I have the chain hooked to the passenger side rear of the head and the driver's side front of the head. So the goal behind this is to keep the engine balanced when we're putting it in, so that way we don't have, you know, one side hanging low, one side hanging high. So we're gonna try to keep it balanced. There is a tool for this, but I just don't have one, so we'll do the best we can with what we got. But you guys can see engine bay is looking clean, ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and undo the starter here because we're gonna need that, you know, to get the engine in right. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this thing up in the air, and then we'll catch up with you guys when we get that done. All right, guys, so quick little update. I've been getting the engine ready for install. So right here, I actually went ahead and made a oil return drain for my turbo, and that is on there, tighten right. I just did that because it would be really hard to tighten up while it's in the car. So got that tight, got our nuts ready, hardware ready, got some grease on everything, so it'll hopefully go on smooth. And we also have all of our bolts sitting in the bell housing right here, so that way we know we have everything. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this stud through the bottom bolt of the starter whenever we get the engine in the car. And obviously I'm gonna take these out before we drop it in. Just wanted to get my bearing straight, make sure we had everything ready. And also I went ahead and put on the steering knuckle. This may need to be adjusted again, but we went ahead and put it on just so that way it'll be already on and we don't have to really fight it in there, and we can just loosen it up, kind of adjust it, and do that pretty easily once the engine's in the car. But I'm gonna put some grease on this shaft and then waiting for my dad to come help me, and we'll go ahead and drop this thing in. Now, any of you guys that have been watching the channel, whenever we pull the engine out, you have to jack up the transmission in order to get the engine to go in with these bottom studs. These bottom studs go in these bottom holes right here. So in order for everything to line up properly, we're gonna have to give the transmission some angle, and we're gonna have to use a jack to do that. So I'll show you guys as we go along here. So one thing, whenever we go to drop the engine in, we're gonna get it placed and everything properly. And then this piece right here, with the clutch throwout bearing, is going to go into this piece right here on the clutch. So what we'll have to do is, once everything's tight, we'll push this thing in like that, and that'll force it into the clutch, and then it'll be all together right. But yeah, I'll catch up with you guys when we get straight and go ahead and drop this thing in, so stay tuned. So as you guys can see, we got the engine installed. I'm super happy with how it turned out, and it dropped in pretty relatively easy, so that was good. We got all the bell housing bolts in. We got the clutch throwout bearing engaged. So if any of you guys that are watching haven't put a Subaru engine in before, you have to basically push your clutch fork back towards the firewall to get the throwout bearing engaged into the clutch. So we went ahead and did that once the engine was sitting in here pretty good. And Subaru engines actually have a dowel between the bell housing, and I'm sure a lot of other platforms do as well. But that makes it relatively easy to get this thing in. Just keep in mind, you're gonna have to jack up the transmission to get the angle the same as the engine on the hoist and to clear the subframe, because you kind of have to have everything up in the air a little bit, tighten down all the bell housing bolts, and then drop it down into the subframe where the mounts are. So you guys saw we put the Cusco mounts on it, so that's what's down there. That looked real good when we dropped it in. I also went ahead and painted the dipstick tube black, so that's a pretty good addition. And we can quickly go over all the hoses. So right here we have our power steering hoses you guys have seen. If you guys have been watching previous episodes, we did that in another one, got it all wrapped up. And then we got our oil drain tube right here that's gonna go down. And we have a couple of our PCV block breathers for the valve covers. And yeah, we got everything pretty well installed, as you guys saw in the last video. Now the engine's sitting in here. We're gonna be able to go ahead and do a couple more things before we actually reach a little bit of a stall, because I don't have the clear timing covers and I also don't have my exhaust parts. And I'll tell you guys why in the next video, but this is kind of going to be where we're going to conclude the video for today. And I'm super excited to have this engine in the car. It seems like just yesterday we were pulling the old engine out of the car. And if you guys haven't seen those videos, we made videos for the whole entire process of pulling the engine out of the car when the car was still running. So if you guys are just now tuning in, be sure to go back and check out those videos, because maybe you can learn something, and that's what it's all about. So we're gonna let you guys go for this video. If you guys like the video, be sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button. Now we can go ahead and start getting this thing together. So be sure to stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.